Okay, now with the farmers, how many of you guys, I want somebody to show me first actually how they do the farmers. I'm going to kind of pick you apart a little bit. Anybody? I like this guy.
Yeah.
I like this guy. What was your name?
I'm Dakota.
Dakota?
Yeah.
Alright, cool, man. Appreciate you volunteering for so much, being a good sport.
Take it easy, Darren.
That's the size of honest advice.
Alright, see your walk.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Easy.
Woo!
You got it, bro.
Yeah, the slant out here, guys, really dangerous. Turn. Alright, so a couple things actually really good. So the pick was great for just a deadlift. For farmers, not so much. Not that it was a bad pick, the form was excellent. When you're actually ready to go, you gotta pick and then run. When you get experience with farmer's walk handles, you don't want to be squared away because you're not going to get that momentum out of it. You actually want to stagger slightly so as you pick, you can walk. And you're already a step ahead. That makes it a lot easier to get going, but again, you risk losing your balance. In this contest, actually, I was a little overzealous. Picked up the farmers, took about 3 steps, and just ate it. It was awesome. I'll tell you, it was awesome. But it goes to show you, you need to have your balance first. And that's important. So make sure you're squared away when you're picking it up. Obviously, the turn on this slant, it's dangerous. You got to be careful. But I'll walk through the pick with you guys. And then I'll let you guys, whoever wants to try the pick, we'll do the pick. We can do a couple runs. This is the fun part, because I know everyone can do this. So, as we're going through, and hand placement's important too. If your hands are too far forward, it's going to sit back. You're not going to be able to balance it well. If your hands are too far back, it's going to pitch forward and you're not going to be able to balance at all. So you want to be somewhere closer to the back, but in the middle. Okay? The other thing with these handles, you notice here it's kind of tripping over them a little bit. These are really, really long handles. I've never seen handles this long in contest. The maker of all my equipment, Texas Power Concepts, he does have a website. His name's Frank. Great guy. One of my sponsors as well. So definitely shout out to him. But he makes great equipment. These were some of the first ones that he ever made. And now they're way updated. Everything that he does is powder coated, like the dumbbell. I had mine in pink. I got an orange powder. Lots of fun stuff. So, when you guys pick, we gotta get them even out here too. So when you pick, you want those feet slightly staggered. So when you pick to go, you're balanced and you're already walking. Okay? That's really important on the pick. That way you're already off. Who wants to give it a try? Everybody on the pick? Whoever wants to can jump over here. I'm going to hold this one since they're going to roll. And one thing I also want to mention, guys, back here, you're going to be really careful training with these, Prowl or anything else. The surface is very uneven, as you guys all know. Really, really hard on the hips, feet, ankles, knees. Really easy to get injured back here. So really, really be careful if you're running with any kind of weight on this over time.
Question.
So one big thing here that you guys will notice, the elbows are very, very bent. That's one thing you want to be careful of. The load should all be in your upper back. Not in the upper back, so to speak, where that's where you're holding it, but you want to keep the upper back tense so you're not holding it with your biceps. That's how you'll tear a bicep. Chest is up, that's good. You can actually see on this hand, it's actually loaded pretty far forward. And you can see it actually tipping back. That's one thing you have to be careful with. The heavier load, that's going to be very good for balance.
Ready?
We're going to do the turn and stuff in a second. If you just want to do picks for a minute, we can just do picks. You go through every step of it, and then we can practice. Will that be easier? Instead of doing it one at a time, or how do you guys want to go through it?
Whatever you think. You want to do the... Let somebody else do one more and maybe do the picks.
Okay, well then, yeah, let's just go with the picks then, if you guys want to do that.
Yep.
All right, who wants to practice the pick next? All right. Just a pick and then a few steps.
Real good interactive.
Now, with you, since you're in a unique situation, make sure that you're balanced as well. Just like to put a bit of pressure on you to walk that way. If you can, then that's great. That was a good pick. His hands are actually balanced really, really well. Bring it back. I actually want you to do it again. One thing that I want to see. So, one thing that you guys noticed, he picked it up and then held it and then walked. The whole point of that staggered pick is to be able to get that pick and immediately start walking out of the pick. It's like a sprinter. If you got a sprinter, they're down, they set up, and then they're off. Okay? They're not down and then set up and then up. Okay? That's one thing we want to watch. So the hand position, that's a good hand position. Staggered, you want your hips squared away, you want your balance, your chest up. All the pressure right now, holding it should be here, not here. You don't want that pressure with the biceps, guys, because again, that's how you tear something. Just gonna walk. Just like that. He's off. Exactly. Perfect. The turns are rough. We're gonna go through those in a second, and they're even harder on a surface like this. What's next? It's not fun. You need it pretty hard. Much better that time. Alright, who's next, jump in. Alright. Move on to the next part of it then. Now with the walk, again, you want the strength in the upper back, you want your arms straight. You don't want to be using your arms to move it a lot, because again, when you're under a lot of weight, it's a lot of tension on the bicep tendon and in the bicep itself that you don't want. In the rotator cuff, all that.
Do you actively use your triceps to keep your arms straight, or do you just try to keep this relaxed?
I keep all my pressure just like this. So I'm actually walking almost in a shrug. My shoulders are pulled back, but I'm not actively locking them down. So you might have a little bit of movement. You just don't want to walk like this the whole time, because that's what makes it a lot more difficult. It makes it more difficult to balance because you're holding it so tight. Your body's not going to be able to move as quickly when everything is rubbing against itself. Okay. So as you guys are walking, again, look to where you're going. You don't want to look straight in front of you, because again, that's going to throw you off. If any of you guys have ever done lunges or taught lunges, you should know that you always look to where you're lunging to, and you'll have better balance. If you watch your next step during a lunge, more than likely it's actually going to throw you off balance. Same thing with the farmers. Look to where you're walking. And of course, if there's an obstruction in your way, you probably look where you're going. That's not so. But on the turn is another big thing. As you're going through the turn, you want to keep it close and lead with your hip. So as you come around, you make a tight turn and not a super wide turn. In contest, the wider turn you do, the harder it's going to be for you to regain balance on these, and the more it's going to throw you off on the track. Again, on a surface like this, it's almost impossible to not lose some form of balance. But a lot of times you go through, and depending on the contest, they may just have like a 10-pound plate on the ground, or they may just have a cone set up, and 2 lanes next to each other. So if you're turning like this, you're in the other guy's lane right here. You can't turn that wide. You've got to practice turning, and you want to do it on both sides. You want to practice a tight turn, and then as you get through it, power straight back through, and tighten up to lock them out.
You want to move down to the parking lot where it's flat?
Really not, honestly, this is the flattest part of both of these surfaces. Right here. Believe it or not.
Okay.
At least from where I've practiced.
We were just thinking out loud, like, well, maybe shit, we'll just move down
Yeah,
there.
from where I've practiced. Last time I was up here, I was actually doing the sled back and forth here. And as I was pulling the sled, it was just going straight into the curve. So, again, the setup. Hopefully these collars stay on. You want to have those feet staggered so you can walk straight off the bat. And I'm going to go right around the tire, which is kind of a wide turn, but I put it there just so you guys can see how the turn goes. So if I'm here, and I'm going to talk you guys through it as I'm going, I'm not going to go super fast. I'm here, I'm up, and I'm already walking. Okay, as I walk, short, quick steps, all the pressure is in my trap, holding me. As I go through the turn, I'm firing my glutes, and I'm turning with my hips, right around it. I'm going to balance out right here with my hips so they don't swing much. And I'm going to bring it all the way back, head down, powering forward, all the way through the movement, to make it a little bit easier to balance and control. Okay? Do you guys want me to do it again a little bit faster, or do you guys want to give it a try? So this should be about 120, 125 in each hand. Not super heavy, so you guys should be able to do this. extremely. You see a lot of guys with good balance and good technique, especially after the turn, because during the turn, you're holding it, and you've got to grab it so you're fighting that turn back. Because you're coming this way, and it wants to keep going this way. You've got to make sure you straighten it out so you can actually use the weight to push you through all the way. That's a huge, huge, huge part of it. So if you're not practicing your grip, you see a lot of guys, maybe about here, lose it. They come around, they're going this way trying to fight it, they balance it out when they're here, and then they can't hold it and they drop it. So you want to be able to balance it as you're going through the turn, keeping it close to your body so you can turn it with you. The more it gets away from you, just like that Continental Clean, the more it gets away from you, the harder it's going to be to balance. So whoever wants to try it next? Yes.
How much is each
30 to 35 empty. In contest, lightweights, you're usually going to have, I want to say, anywhere between 260 and 300 a hand. So heavyweights, I think usually like 310 to 340 a hand. So
2 plates, 90, 180 plus 45.
well, it's 35.
35.
We're going to 270. Yeah. So, who wants to give it a run? Come on, guys, we're here.
You go. I would do it. I've got my damn flip flops on.
Everybody.
How many drops do you make in competition?
It depends. If it's a distance competition, 1 drop and you're done. Usually it's timed. However many drops it takes, but you got to get it in 60 seconds. But usually, very rarely, when you find a farmer's walk in contest by itself. It's usually medley. You'll have something like a Husafelt carry, and then, or like a yoke walk, Husafelt carry, and then farmer's walk. That's what we had at Texas Strongman. So it's Husafelt down, loaded on the platform, or no, it's yoke down, drop the yoke over the line, grab the Husafelt, carry it back.
Husaftelt's the big stone.
Exactly, the one that's
It looks like a
exactly,
Texas or whatever.
exactly.
Alright.
Drop that, and you'll grab the farmers, and you'll go back.
So it's a lot of.
Exactly. Now sometimes it
Your
depends.
heart rate's up.
When I did bodybuilding.com Strongman Challenge, it was just one-on-one farmer, but it was also inside. Sometimes you'll see where they'll have like the farmers and then a duck walk back or a truck pulling a farmer. I mean, it really depends. Usually Husafelt in contest is going to be Husafelt for distance, not for time. So, because those things, I mean, they're tough. You pick them up from the ground flat, you got to pick it up, get it all the way up, and then you've got to carry it. You're just going back and forth as many times as you can. It's all distance. So, as you can see, I'm way out of shape as far as cardio is concerned right now. Now, one thing you'll notice with Austin, his hand is way further back than that one. That's going to throw him off on the turn if he keeps it that way.
I don't look the same. Yeah. Close it back.
As soon as he gets up, he can drive his hips and walk. Just like that, his arms are going to stay straight. He's going uphill and at an incline. That's fine. Now the big thing here, tuck it as you go through. Keep it close, keep it tight. Fast turn, now straighten it out with your hands and with your body. Hands and body, hands and body. They want to keep going, you can't let them. You can see his shoulders are dropping, that's not good. His grip's giving out, so he's trying to come. Did it? Starting off again. Stagger those feet. Straps. Arms up. Pressure here, tight traps, tension points. As you pick it up, you should drop. Good. Quick feet, short steps, not too big, you don't want to run with it. I mean, you can, but quick steps. Tight on the turn.
Awesome.
Fight it back with your hands and hips. Don't let it go, don't let it go, don't let it go.
You got it, man. You're controlling it. You got it. You're controlling it.
Notice, again, the hands started to go as soon as it started to turn. Did you guys see how he compensated to hold it? Anybody notice? Straightened up. Slowed him down a lot. If you can't keep that forward posture and keep your momentum going, standing straight up and walking with his implements is going to slow you down a ton. You can see as his hands start to go up and turn. Instead of grabbing more here, that's up and up and going straight. Slow him down on the way back.
So you don't think about it, and then you're like, oh, I got this. Yeah, keep going.
Right now,
Right after you made that turn around it, right?
Yeah.
Power straight forward all the way through. Keep your head up like this. You want to kind of walk.
This is great.
Okay, for the arms though, you can see he's trying to control with the arms. Look to where you're going. Look to where you're going. Fight it on the way back.
You got it.
Almost.
You got it.
Head up, look to where you're going. Not straight in front of you.
You
There you
got
go.
it. You got it. You got it. Wow.
That's a lot better. The one thing you guys have to be careful with, a lot of arms in that. Every time he tried to control the movement, he did it with his biceps. That'll slow you down, and it's a big risk for injury, so be careful. Other than that, it looks really, really good. Head placement is good. Make sure you're always watching where you're going. You're going to slow down every time you look at the ground. Anybody else? Feel free. Jump in if you want to try it.
I got a question.
Yes.
You mentioned you're on a cardio shape or whatever. When you're getting ready for a contest, like what's your balance between cardio, lifting, and working on these events?
Well, generally my event days are my cardio days. I may go for a walk on a Sunday. I usually jump rope to warm up. So people see me jump roping a lot. I've actually found that to help a lot with my ankle stability when I'm doing yoke and stuff. Jump rope has actually helped me, which I don't know if anyone else does that. It's actually funny. My first, this CrossFit, wow, Strongman competition. I came up. I usually wear like a pink headband, pink socks, pink shoes, all that. And still, I get it in my bag. I was actually gonna wear it, but I was jump roping to warm up before the contest, and the guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, fag, this is a Strongman contest, not CrossFit." And I was like, "Shit, I'm in the wrong place. I drove all the way out here for nothing." So it ended up being good because I kicked his ass. But so cardio, mostly it's events. I'll come out here and I'll train with a sled or a prowler or farmers, sandbag loading, things like that. And then another day I'll do events and I might throw in one or two things. But incline walking is one thing that I do, the step mill. Zach McCarley, which I don't know if any of you guys know who Zach McCarley is, but if this goes up on YouTube, everyone will know who he is. He's the #1 lightweight strongman in the world and has been for years. Most impressive guy I've ever watched live. Any heavyweight, anyone else, Zach McCarley is just unbelievable. But he actually does a lot of elliptical for his cardio. And he said it helped a ton. I've started doing it. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. I haven't competed in about a year now, or over a year I should say. But a lot of it's just the event training. Truck pulls, I mean, that's gonna wear you out. Farmer's walks, when you put weight on, it's gonna wear you out. But it's not all about doing the same thing every time. Some days I might put on 300 pounds and do 3 runs of 50 feet. Some days I might just put this on, and I might just see how many times I can walk around the building. You know, whatever the case is, but you want to mix it up to increase your cardio. Any other questions about this? Contest? I'd say it's between car deadlift, stones, and log. Probably, yeah, car deadlift, stones, and log. Those are all fun. Thomas inch dumbbell sucks because you're always worried about the balance when you pick it up. Because chances are, for a lot of guys, if you're experienced and you've got the motion down, I mean, all of you guys know if you're neuromuscularly efficient, your body can snap into the right position without having to think about keeping my arm close and all these other things. But if you throw it up, you don't have that balance right away, you've got to reset. And that takes time. So that's what I'm a big fan of. Log, I find it really easier. Stones are the most fun. I'm scared of them because that's how I control my bicep. So, but I used to really like farmers. Now I hate anything to do with cardio, so I don't like them as much anymore. But yeah, car deadlift's fun. Actually, this year I wanted to at nationals. I was hoping to go for the record for lightweight deadlift, which I think was like 735. Not the heavy, but I wanted to beat that as a lightweight. But I don't think it's national. It doesn't matter.
You're good.
Any other questions? Cool. Well, do you guys want to know anything about equipment for strongman? Yes, no, maybe, it doesn't matter.
Where do you get yokes?
The size.
I meant like for like the different belts and shoes and these rebands. Only reason I wear these is just to keep my knees warm. I've worn them squatting. They don't help at all with my squat. But I have tendonitis in this knee. It helps just keep my knees warm when I'm doing things. So I figured today, I didn't warm up before I came in doing this stuff, so I figured this is a precaution to put it on. But I mean, there's a lot of different belts. If you guys are curious, there's deadlift belts. There's belts for overhead pressing. There's belts for stones. There's belts for all kinds of crap.
What about that belt? That, you know, like I always use my same belt for squatting, deadlifting, and everything. What about using that same belt for some of this stuff?
I used to, and I find that it actually restricts your range of motion a lot. When I was up at Elite Fitness last year, I believe, I was up there and I actually bought that Sputnik belt from them.
Yeah.
But it helps a ton with your deadlift because I felt like it really increased the range of motion in my hips. If I wear a squat belt when I deadlift, it's really tight and harder for me to get down unless it's like an 18-inch deadlift, a silver dollar deadlift, something like that. So actually, there's a difference. When I do stones, I wear a belt that's a lot more pliable just for a little extra protection.
Not that real thick, but the,
Yeah.
the more nylon or whatever.
Exactly,
or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
When I do overhead pressing in contest, I actually have, it's a reband belt, but it's a double belt. The first one is neoprene, and it's real thick in the back,
Yeah.
and then gets there in the front, and then there's another belt that you actually put through that belt to support. That makes a big difference during that clean and the press for the stability. Kind of let your lats sit on it, so you get a lot more stable as you press up. I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of different things you guys can use. But are there any other exercises you guys want me to cover today? I know we don't, like I said, we don't have a lot of equipment. I guess we went over Continental Clean and Press, log, Thomas H. Dumbbell, farmers. Anything else?
Kind of quick question. I've seen guys wearing like swamp shorts made out of the same material you got in knee sleeves.
Actually, I'd love to get some of those. I don't have any, but they make a huge difference, especially on stones. I've seen a lot of guys wear them on stones. It's just one of those things. Duck walk stones, when you're wide like this, you've got to pick things up. As much support as you can have around here, around the hip area, I mean, that's just going to help you all that much more, just with structural stability, if nothing else. So as far as safety precautions, I'd recommend it 100%. So, I don't know about the whole suit, but definitely the shorts, definitely the shorts.
So they're more like what you wore in the 80s, the more light kind of stuff.
I mean, they're
They're the
thick.
same
They're,
material as
yeah,
that.
they're,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're just like this.
They're just like
now,
that. But they're
Reband
not
makes the
free.
thinner gray ones now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they're normally I actually wear compression shorts. Right now I don't have them on, but normally I wear
Kind of
compression
like
shorts.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are just thicker.
Yeah, they're
I'm
thicker.
with you now.
Yeah, exactly. So depends on the
Shoes.
event. When I overhead press, I've got some Olympic lifting shoes, Resto Sports. Shout out to Resto Sports. Send me some Olympic lifting shoes. I've got a couple pairs from them that I really like. Hard wooden soles. Wear chucks for a lot of things. A lot of strong men do. When you're doing truck pull, rock climbing shoes are the best you can wear. You get a really good grip on the ground. So rock climbing shoes are good for that. When I'm doing a yoke, I actually don't usually like to wear these shoes just because of all the restrictions and stuff. I do wear them occasionally, but a lot of times I wear something like Asics with inserts in it, just because there's so much more support going through it. It depends how much the yoke is. If you've got a 500, 600 pound yoke on your back, depending on obviously how much you practice and how much stability you have in your ankle and mobility in your ankles, these might not be a bad idea. Of course, these are higher, but so it's going to give you more support anyway, but it restricts your range of motion. But I usually wear, the last contest I did, I actually wore Asics, and I like those for the yoke. So, but tons of different options there as well. Any other questions, guys? Stay hydrated, bring Pedialyte to the contests. Seriously, bananas, granola bars, it's a good idea. Lots of toilet paper for the outhouses. Alright guys, anything else I can answer for you guys or help you with today? On camera, I'm sure you guys have a bunch of questions off camera. Alright, well thank you all for coming, I'm glad y'all came, and hopefully soon we'll be able to get some stones or a yoke or some sand for my sandbag and we can go over some more stuff.